Sheena Creek knows something about advocating for a mother's right as a birth and postpartum doula. Today, we chat about the day-to-day intricacies of the work and skills necessary to be a voice for those inside and beyond the delivery room. Whether you're interested in a career centered around birth or are just fascinated with the behind-the-scene realities of those supporting the process, today's episode is sure to be eye-opening. This is Career Chats with Katie and Robin.
Welcome, Sheena. We're so excited to have you on Career Chats today.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
To begin, why don't you tell us what you do and what a typical day on the job looks like?
So I am a birth and postpartum doula. A typical day looks like for me, I'm constantly working with clients and building a relationship with them. So if you don't know what a birth and postpartum doula is, they work with expectant mothers and families, educating them on birth and postpartum and different ways to navigate having a successful birth and a positive birth. During our prenatals, I'm there helping them create a birth plan, going through educational guidelines for how birth is supposed to be, different pain relieving techniques, and different ways and positions to get through the hard parts of labor. I'm pretty much on call whenever they hit that 36-week mark. And then once they need me, they call me into wherever they're delivering at.
How did you find yourself in this job? Is it something you always thought of doing, or did you come across it sort of by accident?
It was never anything that I really knew about. So growing up, I always wanted to be in the social work field. And I spent some time doing that for a little bit, but I really came across becoming a birth doula when I had my son. So he's 3 now. And I kind of knew a little bit of it just from a friend before I had my son. But I kind of went through a phase in my pregnancy that I had to advocate for myself. And so just hearing a medical provider doubt you and pretty much wanted to do things their way kind of like set that on fire for me. I wanted to be able to advocate for women who feel like they can't use their voice or need that additional support system there for them. So that's kind of what brought me to the field, honestly.
Oh, I love that.
So what kind of training do you need to become a doula? Does it vary by state, do you know, or do you just get a certification, or how does that process work?
So in Indiana, there's no like set specifics that you need.
Okay.
But I did decide to go get a certification. A full spectrum doula pretty much just means birth and postpartum. And then I'm also certified in placenta encapsulation, so pretty much all well-rounded.
Awesome. So what's your favorite part about the job?
Just being able to be that support for them. And it's nice to see them grow through education that I've provided them with. Some moms, they come to you and they just have no clue. And so it's nice to be able to see them grow and evolve from that and feel empowered through their experience.
Nice. And what's your least favorite part of the job?
When I'm going through all these sessions with my clients, I kind of have to inform them on medical interventions. My least favorite part would probably be when you're in the hospital setting and you've got all of these providers trying to push you on to different interventions that you may have don't agree with, and then trying to navigate that the best way possible. So that's hard, and being on a time clock is hard. So trying to navigate that all is really hard.
Yeah, that can be difficult. What type of personalities do you think would thrive in the day-to-day work environment for being a doula?
I would say someone that has big advocacy skills, because if you don't really have a voice, whether it be birth or not, like if you don't have a strong advocacy bone in your body, then it's going to be hard for you. Your clients are going to want to know the real you. They're not going to want someone that's just putting on a face, guiding them through. They want the real raw vocalness of you. You're kind of their voice if they're afraid to speak up or you have to provide them with their encouragement to speak up and be their voice of reason.
I love that whole idea of advocacy, because I think pregnancy, delivery, it's no joke. And having someone there who's going to speak up for you when you're at your sort of most vulnerable and, exhausted, I think that's such an important role to have that on your side. I love that. So what would you tell someone who's thinking about entering the field? What pearls of wisdom have you gained in your experience?
Well, I don't know it all. I've only been doing this for 2 years, but I would just say connect with other people, get as much education under your belt as you can. Know that not every day is going to be easy. You're going to come across battles, and really find your client base. What type of clients are you wanting to work with? Are you wanting to work with people that are just more go with the flow? Or are you wanting to work with people that are more holistic minded? Lots of different variables.
Is this field one that you can get some shadowing experience from other doulas? Like, how does that part work?
I do know that there are some doulas that do shadowing. I'm not sure if they do it for just people that are going through education or they would just allow anyone. At the end of the day, they have to ask their clients for that too. So it would be all up to the doula and the client. But I would say there are some opportunities for people that are going through education to do that.
Okay. And do you think there will be more or less opportunities for people to do this type of work in the future?
I don't think it's ever going away. I think there's always going to be a need for it. I know the last few years, like with the whole COVID and all that stuff, things have changed a lot in the medical field. And us as doulas, we're trying to change that one by one. The more doulas, the better.
Definitely. Thinking ahead, is this something you hope to do for the long term, or what's the next step after for you?
I hope so. It's just getting that client base and word of mouth to keep getting clients and to be able to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything, any other job, you've got to have work, keep the job.
What type of benefits beyond getting paid, like flexibility or things like that, would you say are positives for being a doula?
I get to stay home with my son. That's really a great flexibility portion of it because I don't have to pay for the typical 9-to-5 daycare costs when I'm on call or I have an appointment that overlaps my husband's work schedule. I'll have to pay a sitter for that. But that's like kind of the number one thing for me that's really important.
And you get to see babies be born.
You can see people like the most monumental moment of their life.
If I were a doula, I feel like that part would never get old. I'd be like, oh, squishy baby.
So cool. So Sheena, is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know about becoming a doula?
I know we talked a lot about birth, but there's also the postpartum aspect of it. So if you don't want to do like the birth portion of it, and because I know some people, they prefer one or the other. So if you don't have the flexibility to be on call 24/7 for multiple weeks at a time, and you don't have that backup child care where you can just drop your child off somewhere no matter what time of day, you can also do the postpartum aspect of it, which you can schedule your own time slots with that. For me, I do 4 hours at a time. And so I know what 4 hours I can be gone for to where I don't have to hire a babysitter.
And can you tell us a little bit more about what you would do during that type of session?
So I work with parents a lot on any type of resources that they need, whether that be chiropractic care or like tongue tie release, anything and beyond. I do meal prepping for them, laundry, helping them with breastfeeding, sleep. Some of the other things I've done is like light housekeeping, vacuuming, cleaning the counters, stuff like that. So just really anything that they need during that time to kind of lighten the load with them is pretty much what it's all about.
I love that. And I feel like so many parents don't utilize these resources.
I could have used that. That's for sure.
Me too.
Yeah. And so many people don't live near family, or they feel bad asking a friend for help. Like, it comes back to the vulnerability. So I think this is such a service that so many parents need. So
Definitely.
A lot of people, like, they're so focused on how, and it's not a bad thing, but some people are so focused on how they want their birth to go that they completely forget about postpartum. It's really crucial that people start thinking about both too. That's how it was for me. I was so focused on how I wanted my birth to go. And then when postpartum came, it was like the most emotional 3 weeks of my life.
Yep.
Like, I wish I would have had someone there to like help in the load and be there for me in those dark moments that I had.
Well, Sheena, thank you so much for being here today. This was so nice. And I think our listeners will really appreciate learning about being a doula.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Career Chats is hosted by Katie Huddleston and Robin Coney. Show notes and guest info can be found on our website, careerchats.show. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love you to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. Until next time, stay curious.